everybody. Welcome back to Cubism. Like normal. As normal. I'm Aaron.
I'm Drew.
It's been a little bit. We have been away for a little while. Commander came and gone. Came and went. Whatever the analogy is, term is. Very unexciting. Very unmotivated. We didn't make an episode.
I still added 2 cards.
I apologize.
They're very whatever.
Yeah, Commander was very underwhelming. You know, I don't want to pile on. Wizards obviously got a lot of hates for Commander, and I think ultimately the product was fine. Just the reprints were meh. In terms of Cube, not so much love, unfortunately. But, I guess Saheeli is fine. That's it. That's our review. Saheeli is fine.
I'll go with that.
Guilds of Ravnica. Guilds of Ravnica's new. Everyone's excited about Guilds of Ravnica. I'm excited. Drew's almost excited.
Kinda.
Internet's excited. And internet's mad. Everyone's mad too. It's the best time of the year. It's spoiler season.
It is the internet.
It's almost spoiler season, depending when I release this. So, we got our first taste of Guilds of Ravnica just recently. We got was it PAX? PAX was when they announced all this nonsense?
Yeah, makes sense.
They announced all the new mechanics, which we'll go over in a moment, along with a handful of spoilers and a new box set that you won't be able to get. But before we get too far into it, we want to thank our sponsor, the Mana Base. The Mana Base is your home base for all things Magic the Gathering, and is the provider that lets us bring you this quality content almost once a month at this point.
Every 2 weeks. Easy.
So check them out for literally everything. It's ever vintage. No one plays vintage anyway, it's fine. So, it brings us to Guild of Ravnica. Guild of Ravnica, it's an unknown amount of sets from what I understand, since with this new block system, I might just be able to loop.
What, they could go 4 sets?
It could be 7. It could be 2 years of Ravnica, and everyone would be...
Just reprint the Shocklands every second set. It'll be fine.
So, I guess if it's any indication, the first set, Guilds of Ravnica, has 5 of them. So I would assume the next 5 are in the next set. So we have, Dimir, Izzet, Golgari, Boros, Lesnia, and all their accompanying Shocklands. I can't imagine if they didn't print them, the internet would be even madder than they are. But, we'll take it. So we got a handful of mechanics, which generally impacts a lot of whether or not these kind of cards can fit into Cube. Sometimes you get, like, tribal-themed mechanics or, like, Soul Shift. And so on. There aren't a lot of playable Soul Shift cards in Cube.
Lots of spirits.
Yeah, or even sometimes they're
Remorseful
narrow.
Spirit now,
Ooh, Spirit, that one's good. Or sometimes they're even more, maybe limited designed, like Fabricate, which is, has a handful of okay cards, but, sometimes they just kind of miss the mark in terms of Cube. So, we're going to go over them really quick. So for this set, it's looking pretty good. We have we're starting off with Dimir. Dimir has Surveil. So Surveil is, I guess...
Like a scry.
New scry.
Graveyard scry.
So it's going to be like Surveil X, whatever number it is. Look at the top. X cards in your library. You may put any amount of those in your graveyard. So it's a scry, but puts in the graveyard. But it's like way better scry, right? Like most of the time, being able to dump cards in your graveyard will be better. Is a better option than putting them on the bottom. So that's great. Hopefully, I imagine that's a pretty generic ability they can put on a lot of sets, or a lot of cards, I should say.
Well, this type of ability it's starting to get to the point where you can build a graveyard-centric cube entirely and have it all over the place, which is the way you want to do a theme. And
with this incidental graveyard support.
Yeah.
So, speaking of graveyard support, Izzet gives us Jumpstart. Is a great mechanic, but I don't like the name.
Bad name.
It's like, I'm sure it fits flavor-wise too, I just don't like the name. So
it's going to, you shock them, right? You give them the shocks.
That's working.
Yeah.
So, Jumpstart lets you cast a spell out of the graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its costs. So similar a la Retrace, except you only get the one-time use, blah, blah, similar to Flashback, similar to a lot of things. So, again, very excited for this mechanic, being able to reuse something. Let's say you print Electrolyze with this ability. Obviously, this card's fantastic. But if the spoiled cards are any indication, it's going to be very powered down. I think they spoiled, 3 mana Shock, tap the creature, Jumpstart.
I like the 2 mana draw card.
Yeah, that one's fine. It's just like a slow think twice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So Golgari gives us Undergrowth, which I guess this is another one that's like maybe a little less, probably the least cube-centric one. Centric is the wrong word. Cubable one. But it just cares about the amount of creatures cards in your graveyard.
That's been a thing in the past, I guess.
It has, but I guess they gave it a keyword, right? I'm sure you can put Undergrowth on a lot of different cards in Magic. And,
Have it be fine. Yeah.
Right. So the handful, this mechanic looks like powerful up front. It looks like a very powerful constructed mechanic. And because it's a powerful constructed mechanic, I imagine they will
Have a
not
hoser?
push these cards very
Either
hard.
they're not pushed or there's going to be a hoser and it's going to be unplayable.
Yeah, like I imagine, when you can play a bunch of Dump All My Idiots and all your Undergrowth cards don't really have to work too hard to be good. The ones that are just powerful in a vacuum won't. Those be less of those ones, I imagine. It's a much more build around mechanic, which doesn't, unfortunately, translate the cube the greatest. Boros has
Combat focused.
more combat focused
Go
mechanics.
figure.
It's fine. It's a great limited mechanic, but they have Mentor. So whenever this creature attacks, you get a +1/+1 counter on a target creature attacking with lesser power.
Bolster, battle cry.
It bunch of nonsense. Anyway,
yeah.
don't worry though. They spoiled one card so far. It's great. We'll come back to that in a moment. And then Selesnya has Convoke. The only returning mechanic, and historically hasn't been the greatest for Cube.
Correct.
The
I have no
cards.
problems with great and limited.
Yeah,
it's okay to bad and constructed.
Yeah, the only notable cards in Constructed and even Cube are like Court of Calling and Sprout Swarm. There's a little Triplicate Spirits maybe in Peasant, but
yeah. And Hybrid Mana.
Hybrid Mana is the last one, so I guess that's not really a mechanic. Is it a mechanic? Do you count it as a mechanic? Hybrid Mana is back. Hybrid Mana is great. Big fan. Big fan of Rakdos Cackler.
And Figure of Destiny? Less?
Big fan of Rakdos Cackler.
Okay. You're a powerful wizard. You just unleash.
Those are the mechanics in the sets. Everything except for all the Undergrowth seems like it's going to be... not going to be a problem shoehorning in. And hopefully we get some sort of Undergrowth love coming our way. So... I guess we'll move on to the handful of spoilers that they released.
Couple of cards.
There aren't very many, but there's already a handful of discussion going on. So I'm sure they wanted to give you a good taste before a lot of the nonsense comes along. But let's talk about Amara Soul of the Accord first. Amara Tandris, not originally cube playable. What about Amara Soul of the Accord?
No, it's probably worse than Fleecemane Lion.
So Amara is a green-white 2/2 legendary creature elf cleric. Whenever it becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. It joins the laundry list of Selesnya bears that are playable. Well, playable. You can choose to play them. You go really deep into tokens? Maybe. This card's interesting. Obviously, it's supposed to synergize with Convoke. Amara Tandris is the token queen.
But they also have the guild mages do similar things in that slot.
This card's it's interesting. Again, kind of a cool, maybe constructed-ish card, but I think kind of fails to hit the mark. I think I'd just play like a Fleecemane Lion or a Solar Pride Mage or not. You know what? I'd play it over Watch Wolf. And I like me a Watch Wolf. It's not good, but I like Watch Wolf. Legion War Boss. This might be my favorite card in the set. It's only 7 cards have been spoiled or something.
It's not a high bar.
That's true. So as previously, we talked about Mentor, Legion War Boss, 2 in a red, 2/2 Mentor, Goblin Soldier. I wish it was Goblin Soldier King. He has a
real
crown
and cape going on.
Begin combat. On your turn, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token. That creature gains haste until on a turn and attacks as combat if able. If it sounds familiar, that's because it is. A Goblin Rabble Master.
It's like a bad Rabble Master.
It is a bad Babble Master. It's 3 mana 2/2, makes a goblin, attacks, mentors 1 instead of getting really, really big.
Doesn't get boosted, yeah.
Doesn't get boosted. It doesn't boost itself. It doesn't have to suicide all your other goblins. It only has to suicide the turn it comes into play.
But if your first guy is dying, there's a good chance your subsequent goblins are dying anyways.
Yeah. So there's I want to say there's pros and cons to both. Rabble Master's just better. I do like this card maybe more than a Handwear Garrison. You get immediate value out of it versus the bigger payoff of Handwear Garrison.
I like that Handwear Garrison provides a different dimension other than just being a worse Rabble Master.
That is true. Yeah, if you're looking for a little more diversity, I do think this card is very, very good. I think it's going to be fine in a lot of cubes.
It's another one of those great to have because it allows you to play more of what you like.
More redundant effects that are just like obviously going to be good. And again, I do think it is better than Handwear Garrison, but for the sake of diversity, if you want to kind of mix up your options, having
Or
some
hate those
or
weird
all of
flip
them.
cards, right?
Or hate the weird flip card. I don't like
It's got a relevant text on it.
It's weird trying to think like, oh, I have to resleeve my cube. Oh, you know what? I only, let's say I'm going to play white sleeves. I only need to use like 4 or 5 checklist cards, and then you think like all these other Bizarro cards that have double face, like, I forget about Ormondal and this red dude and
There's Legions
Bruna?
landing now, but yeah,
Not Bruna.
Gisela. Yeah.
Legion. Like there's actually so many transform cards in the cube now. It's insane. So Legion War Boss, thumbs up. I'm going to play it. Drew might not play it. Only because he wants diversity. No diversity over here. Before we get into Ral, Izzet Viceroy, they spoiled the Planeswalker deck one, and it's sad that Izzet is in such a spot that I don't like the cards so much that the Planeswalker deck one is almost good. So I guess we'll talk about Ral Izzet first. Izzet Viceroy. It's 3 blue-red, 5 loyalty. I don't like the name Izzet Viceroy, but
He got a promotion, right?
Clearly he got a promotion. He's working for Bolus, and people who work for
He's
Bolus
working for the Trade Federation.
seem to do well in high regard, just like Tezzeret did. So +1, look at the top 2 cards of your library, 1 to your hand, 1 to your graveyard. -3, Ral Izzet Viceroy deals damage to target creature equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards cards you own in exile or in your graveyard. So if you're all your Jumpstart pals, those count too. -8, you get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target, and you draw 2 cards.
I'm glad it's following the long line of Tappy, Bernie, Millie, Dry card Planeswalkers. Or is it in general?
It is very Izzet. This card is interesting, but
I'm just going to stick with Dak,
I even like the original Ralzeric. It's hard to say like a more. Ralzeric is just like
that one costs 4.
A bona fide Flame Cuckoo, right? Comes into play, kill something, every now and then dies. Has interactive abilities in like a powered environment, and tapping power artifacts. So
Time Vault,
Psalm Moth, Good Moth, those kind of things. So there's a lot more applications there. But in my cube, without those effects, or without most of those effects, it's most likely just comes into play and kills something, and then puts up a fight until most likely
something
die.
again,
or hopefully killing something again. So Ral Izzet Viceroy. He doesn't. I imagine he's going to be kind of hard to protect himself. Like what's the rollout? You probably interact with your opponent 2 times before you cast a spell. On curve, you get to shock something when it comes into play for 5, which is like not super reliable. Obviously, as the game goes on, maybe I was gonna say maybe I look at it as more of like a Keranos, but I think Keranos you're gonna slam on 5 most of the time, and it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can put yourself in a position where this card's good. You get to play it. It goes up to 6. It gives you card advantage while fueling itself. But very often, I imagine you're not going to want to dump spells with Ral. You'll want to keep those ones.
Yeah, it's fine to Jiminy Jam some Planeswalkers when they come out.
Yeah,
see how they really work out.
Yeah, the Izzet Planeswalkers aren't so good to the point where I think this is out of the league by any means. Dak Faden is probably the de facto Planeswalker in a powered environment, but outside of that, you can make a case for Ral Izzet Viceroy, but it's not super exciting, but it's a kind of playable Izzet card. That's like all I really want. Was it Izzet, Boros, Rakdos, Gruul? Was those Simic? So half the guilds really need at least 1 good card. They won.
Simic needs like 3.
Okay, I'm only going to ask for 1, and I have to wait another 3.5 months or almost 4 months. But I just want 1. It's gonna be 1. Ral Izzet Viceroy is fine. It joins the list of fine Izzet cards. The 6 mana one. Some amount of loyalty, but it's like plus draw card, -3 Arc Trail something, and then -8 or something. Deal 7 to all their stuff and draw 4 cards, something crazy.
It's like a mini bolus.
If that card costs 5, that card is be
color.
better, I think. Alright, plus draw card, kill a bunch of idiots, and then I was going to say Flame Strike, the Hearthstone term, but it's not quite the same thing. Anyway, annihilate.
Chandra Flame Caller.
Yeah, so the 6 mana one is also not terrible. That brings us to the last card we're going to talk about today, and that's Underrealm Lich. It's weird that I assumed this card to be legendary, but it's not.
It's got 3 creature types, though.
It does.
It can't fit as legendary in that type line.
3 black-green, Zombie Elf Shaman. Big fan. If you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Obviously fitting into the Undergrowth mechanic. Pay 4 life, it gains indestructible, and tap it.
It's like regenerate-y.
Yeah, it's very regenerative.
Type effect.
It's 4/3, so 5 mana 4/3. Golgari recently has been getting a handful of help, in like kind of value cards like Marin of Klein-Noltoth. So this card is very powerful. I think if you kind of stick this thing for a turn or two, this card's very, very powerful. The body leaves a little more to be desired. Yes, it thankfully it has this pay for life thing, but how many times are you going to let it kind of die to a lightning strike before it kind of becomes a problem? 3 toughness isn't that much toughness. You're going to be regenerating this thing a lot. It's not really going to attack that often.
Cost 5 to get in play the first time.
So the body doesn't attack and block the greatest, with the exception of you losing a bunch of life. So the effect is very powerful. It's a very good example of a mythic. Golgari has a little bit of room to breathe. Your Golgari slots can be very just like Izzet can be all cantripy, deal some amount of damage, draw a card, tap something. You know what I mean? Effects. Golgari can just be all removal spells.
Yeah.
So if you don't want it to be all removal spells, and you have like Marin or Catacomb Sifter or like
mentally
else,
this fits in the same realm that Marin's does.
Yeah.
It's a similar type of card, and if you want to double up on that.
Yeah, so Marin, I do like Marin over under Realm Lich. Obviously, Marin gives you some sort of immediate value, and while they both generate value over the course of the game, Marin's value I think is most likely more consistent and more immediate.
And it's easier to block with that card.
It's a
because
4-mana 3/4.
It lets you do what you want and propel you into a longer game, where this thing doesn't really.
You kind of stick it, and then like
hopefully you don't have to pay life and quicken the game.
Yeah, you kind of stick it, and it's kind of like this walking big Sylvan Library-ish kind of card. But it's a cool card nonetheless, and it's a card I'm sure I'm going to end up trying. And it gets me excited for what is to come in this set. So there aren't too many spoilers. There are a handful of other common and uncommon stuff. Nothing crazy. Shocklands are back. They all have fantastic art. If you haven't read Steam Vent's flavor text, I recommend you go do that. Though, I know a friend of mine on Twitter posted, a lot of time Wizards of the Coast says that, we don't like to reprint certain cards or whatever because it's difficult to depict certain artwork in reprints and stuff like that. If it's named this and that, it has to be represented in the art. And Steam Vents is not represented at all in new Steam Vents art. It's this giant electric fence looking thing.
It was more like a tower with lightning.
It is neither Steam nor a vent.
You can just use the same art.
Either way, it's very nice, so I'll take it. I do like the new ones quite a bit more. So last thing we got with the Guilds of Ravnica announcement was this weird, ambiguous, not announced quite the best,
poorly named
Guilds of Ravnica Masterpiece series. And we saw a wave of full art Planeswalkers. Everyone got excited. Only to eventually find out that they are Hasbro released only, just like SDCC Planeswalkers, at a USD price tag, MSRP, of $250, which is a lot of Canadian dollars.
A lot of Canadian rupees.
A lot of Canadian rupees. The conversion is terrible, and the exchange is terrible,
tariffs.
And the tariffs are bad. It's going to be like 500 Canadian dollars, and no one in Canada will buy it. It's fine. But, so they announced them as masterpieces, but they're not part of the set. They're this box set that you have to buy separately that comes with 24 packs. It's like 2/3 of a box. And 8 of these are inserted randomly into those packs. So, they throw in a bunch of throwaway packs, which isn't the greatest.
They look kind of like those border extensions that were phased out, being popular like 5 years ago or something.
Oh, yeah, with like the rise of alternate art cards. There was a dude on eBay that would just kind of take the art, blow it up, and then slam it as a sticker on, if anybody remembers that. That extends, looks kind of like this.
Or the really anime versions that are really unfortunate.
Or the anime versions. So these, they are foil. They're confirmed on Twitter that they're unfortunately mega from the vault foiled.
Ooh. Real glossy then.
Yeah, real glossy. Not like the regular, more traditional foiling that the masterpieces have, if you want to call it traditional. So, obviously, I'm sure you've been on the internet, and everyone's mad. But I do think that all of this, if not most of it, could have been avoided had they just not named it Masterpiece Series. Don't announce it at PAX. Announce it when you start spoiler season. And don't call it Masterpieces, right? You call it Masterpiece, everyone immediately thinks, they're going to be in PAX. Just call it this Guilds of Ravnica Mythic box set, that's fine.
Despite that, they're going to sell out.
It's funny. Their original response after all the everyone being mad was, Mero said, if it doesn't sell them, we're obviously not going to make more of them, which might be the worst PR move of all time. until he eventually elaborated on, oh yeah, we're gonna, get everyone's feedback. Because like these don't even they don't sell to the UK. Like the Hasbro doesn't ship to anywhere outside North America. So if I'm excited and I live in France, I'm just
if
mad,
they're like the
can't buy it.
San Diego Comic-Con boxes, don't they periodically put up like 10 or 20 of them on their website?
I think they restocked them at some point.
And
I'm not sure
randomly
how true this is going to be for this. But either way, this is a pretty cool. Like again, I'm not super jazzed about the foiling. As mad as everyone is, I do think they just announced it and maybe rolled it out a little wrong. But ultimately, I'm not mad that this product exists. It's kind of whatever. I'm not mad that SCCC promos exist. I think people who are probably blowing it out of the water a bit, just because again, because I do believe that associating them as masterpieces was a big mistake. Also, not announcing it properly or all the stuff all at once and kind of just like, here's stuff, more stuff to come, more information to come. So the reprints are also kind of whatever. I don't know how they chose them. It seems like this is a great time to like just print a new cool Jace, a new cool Karn, like print all these. But no, it's like the ready. Tezzeret, which is, I guess, relevant. Maybe Daretti will be storyline relevant.
Yeah, Daretti was in 2 like supplementary sets, right?
Yeah, I guess was it? It's like
Teferi. One supplementary set.
Well, it wasn't 2, but there was 2 versions of them.
Okay.
The Scrap Savant and Ingenious Iconoclast, and Ingenious Iconoclast is the reprint one. So like Teferi, Liliana, Ral, unknown Planeswalker that'll be in Guilds of Ravnica.
Old Elspeth Knight Errant.
Yeah, old Elspeth Knight Errant. Why isn't it Sun's Champion? No one even plays Knight Errant anymore. Who cares? I'm blanking on some other ones. I'm blanking on all of them, clearly. I'm just going to bring up my cheat sheet here of the internet. Alright, so Elspeth, Teferi, Ral Zarek, or Ral is Viceroy, Liliana, Daretti, Nicopolis. Nicopolis Planeswalker. Not even Ravager or God Pharaoh.
Well, there was already a promo God Pharaoh, right? Where he's
there was. But they've done that before. But how soon would double-faced, full-art Ravager been? Amazing. No. You got Nicopolis,
pretty top
Planeswalker with his weird looking this stance for some reason, and then Tezzeret Danger to Bulls. That card's fine. Why? Elspeth is like really. Why is Elspeth in the set, and why is Daretti in the set? And Nicopolis makes sense. It's like he's been the bad guy now in the main storyline, or at least the shadow bad guy for 2 years.
Is that new art, Tezzeret? It's like holding up his Greek statue holding up the world.
I think he's supposed to be holding up the planar bridge or something along the lines of the planar bridge. I think he stole from Kaladesh. So I don't know how. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah, Elspeth, Daretti, Nicopolis, Planeswalker kind of feel weird, jammed in. Yeah, I don't know. Print a Karn, print a something. Karn's even part of the storyline. Like, why isn't Karn in here? Like 4-mana Karn or 7-mana Karn. Anyway, whatever. So, this box set is neat. Everyone mad, but
it's fine.
It's fine. Oh yeah, buy box promos are back. Sorry, they're not even back. They just never left.
It's a big indestructible guy.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought I was wondering why Wizards. There was so much. People were so mad about Nexus of Fate and buy box promos. At the peak right after the Pro Tour, that I'm surprised they never made an announcement about it. But then, like 2 weeks later, they announced 10 more. Like, here's the new buy box promo. It got leaked. And then here's this Learn to Play 5-deck set that has 5 standard legal exclusive cards and 5 more Commander-ish legal. Commander legal, so Legacy, Vintage, Commander legal cards. So I imagine that's why they make an announcement like, oh, we have...
Everything's Commander legal.
We got 11 more coming, so we just can't say anything. We can't say we're sorry if we have more literally in the chamber, so anyway... That'll, I guess, wrap up our Guilds of Ravnica initial impressions. I'm sure everyone in the Cube community is excited. I know gold cards are always awesome. It's
hold the phone. That shock is double red. 3-mana double red shock.
No. Oh yeah, it's really bad. There's also this one too. This one's an instant, I guess. It does 2 damage to that creature's control. Oh, I tap it. Okay, well you know what? I mixed up Sonic Assault and Direct Current. I thought they were the same card. Direct Current is 3-mana shock with Jumpstart.
With Sorcery. 2 red.
1 red. This other one is an ice. 1 red, blue. Tap something. They take 2 damage. Jumpstart. If this is an indication of how good Jumpstart cards are going to be. Oh, this Think Twice is an instant. Good thing I did a lot of research before I...
I really like that card. I might show Think Twice for that. I play Think Twice randomly right now.
You think Twice for 1 less mana, but if you discard a card is better than Flashback Think Twice?
No. But it's pushing a different direction, right? It's more of a Graveyard Reanimator package.
How much of a feel bad is opening Narcomoeba as a rare?
get more copies
Well,
of it in circulation.
This card's not even worth anything. Who cares? How bad is the kid who opens that thing in FNM field?
It's going to play it.
How bad
It's got a gold
is
symbol
me
on it.
as a 31-year-old adult going to feel when I open that playing my shitty random formats?
It's fine. They're still going to play one of cube cards in Modern.
Probably.
That won't
I can trade
include
10 of
Dark
them in
Kamiba.
for a Kendrick. Anyway, I'd like to thank the Mana Base, our home base for also for Magic the Gathering, where we release our content at some time, not regular at all. Other than that, Marin,
I'm Drew.
the shock's really bad.